Okay, in this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to use the shattered glass technique with value to color in these three different images with color pencil. So you're going to need a regular pencil, a pack of color pencils, and a ruler. And we're actually going to start up here at the top. And so for right now, we don't need to see this guy, so I'm going to zoom into the top portion. So right here, it's telling us that we are going to be using both warm and cool colors. So over here, we're going to be using the warm. Over here, we're going to be using the cool. Okay. We need two colors in the background. So for the warm, we know that it is red, orange, yellow. For cool, we know it's blue, green, purple. So I'm going to use orange, yellow for this one. And then for over here, I'm going to use blue, green. And then for the main image, for this one in particular, we're going to use purple. Over here, we don't have a main image, so we don't have to go ahead and use that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our ruler, and we're just going to make two lines. We're going to make one right here down the middle, and then another one over here. And you know what? Rather than yellow, I changed my mind. We're going to make red. I realized that yellow might be a little bit difficult for the camera to pick up, so red might be better to use there. Okay. And so now that we've made our two lines, we're going to go ahead and we are going to grab the red and we're going to grab the orange. And now, very important for the shattered glass technique is we are using basically a gradient of a value. In this case, it's going to be these two colors, and then the gradient is applied in opposite directions. So let's go ahead and let's pick up the red, okay? So the carmine. We're going to go ahead, and you know what? I want to make the darkest portion of it right here on this corner, so I'm going to add the most pressure right here to that corner. And then what I'm slowly going to do is I'm slowly going to start releasing that pressure. And if you go off the square a little bit, that's totally fine. This is a practice, so it's okay. And we can actually go in with an eraser later to clean it up. Okay, go ahead. Over here. And so the idea is that it's getting really dark to really light, and we want to make sure that this gradient is nice and even. So going in with the second layer to ensure that it is. Okay. And then if you have an eraser, you can go in and we can attempt to erase it. We might see a little bit of that residue still, but we can get most of it off. Okay. And so now that we have our first square kind of applied, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the orange and we're going to use the same technique, only this time we're not going to have the darkest portion be over here in the corner. Instead, we're looking at the red, we're seeing, oh, this is the lighter portion here, so for our next color in the next section, our darkest value is going to be right next to that lighter one. Okay, so right here, lots of pressure. Then we're starting to release that pressure. Okay, and then I'm going in and I'm just filling in the rest of the spots that we see. And so every time we see a line, we're going to make sure that we are changing the way that we're applying that value. Now, we notice here is lighter, here is darker. So these bottom two, we can do a few different things. Now, we know that it's dark here, so we don't want to start our red right here, the darkest, because then that would be two areas that are dark that are touching. However, we can tell that, so what we can do instead is, seeing as this is going to be the darkest area, in this square, we can figure that since this is the darkest area, this area here has to be the lightest, and so then the darker area would be in the opposite end. So then right here is where the most pressure would be. And I'm actually going to turn my paper so that I can see that application. We want to make sure that we're being very, very intentional and we are releasing that pressure. And again, if you get kind of out of the lines, this is a practice, it's fine, it's not a big deal. But we do want to make sure that it is a nice, even, and accurate gradient. So. Okay. So now we're seeing that. And then right here we see these two darker areas. Now here it's dark, right? This is the most pressure, the darkest value. So we could essentially put the darkest value here. However, since it does get light here, we could actually even start the darker value here. This is really kind of up to the artist to keep it simple. We're just going to go ahead and do the same thing from this way, the opposite direction, just like how we see it over here. So in this area, this is going to be the one with the most pressure. So I'm going to turn my paper again, just so that it's more comfortable for me as I'm applying that value. Okay. And so there we go. And so now if we were to look at this from further away, you start to see how it kind of provides that illusion of space. We can see that it kind of looks like we're moving both forward and backward. And so it really is a nice technique that makes our images look super cool. And so over here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do something similar. Now, we're going to add some lines, but this time, instead of having the lines go all the way through the square, we're actually going to skip over the image. So this time, maybe we just create the same type of square, maybe just to make it super easy, right? We'll do the same thing over here, just like that. Now you see how we didn't draw the lines on top of the image, so we're going to leave it just like that. From here, we have our cool colors that we are using. So we're going to grab our blue, the purple, and the green. Now, this one says that it is a dark green. I actually think that this is a true green, so I'm going to use this one. Okay. It says that the subject matter, the focal point, meaning the candy hearts in this case, is going to be in purple. So for now, the purple we can put to the side. We're going to tackle the background first. And so we're going to go in with the blue. And this time I want us to kind of challenge ourselves. So we're not going to start it the same way we did with the red that way. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to create the darkest portion. I think we're going to go dark here and then lighter here. Okay. So I'm switching, I'm turning my page. This is the darkest. And now we are releasing that pressure. And again, if you get some in the candy heart, that's not a big deal. Preferably we don't do that, right? But if we do, it's all right. This is a practice. Now we're gonna go ahead, we see that this is the darkest, right here this is the lightest, so now with the green, this is the darkest portion of the green is going to touch the lightest portion of that blue. Okay. And again, if you got a little bit of that green or that blue in the candy heart, we can go ahead and just clean it up. Just like that. Right? Now that we see that this is the lightest area here, we can go in and this is the darkest. And I'm going to pause the video here.